Good evening and welcome to the regular Board of Directors meeting. Today is Thursday, August 13th. This meeting is being held remotely via Zoom. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Ms. Pania, can you call the roll?
Yeah, thank you, President Sheets. Director Gould.
Here.
Orzali.
Here.
Wood.
Here.
Kelly.
Present.
Sailors.
Here.
Clark.
Here.
Jones.
Here.
White.
Here.
And President Sheets, turning it back over to you.
Great. This is the Metro Cable announcement. The open session meeting is videotaped for Cablecast on Metro Cable 14. Replay on Sunday, August 16th at 9 a.m. and Monday, August 17th at 6 p.m. on Channel 14. Webcast at www.sacmetrocable.tv. It's now the public's opportunity to discuss matters of public interest within the district's jurisdiction, including items on or not on the agenda. Madam Clerk, are there any speakers?
I had no one contact me beforehand to ask to speak this evening, but Art, if you could unmute all people who've joined and see if there's anyone who would like to comment.
Yes, everybody on the attendees list, you are able to respond and unmute yourself if you like at this time, please. And looks like no response.
Great, thank you. Moving on to the consent items, are there any questions, concerns, comments?
Madam Chair, I'd move the consent.
Second.
Wonderful. We have a first and a second. Can you please call the roll?
Director Gould.
Aye.
Orzali.
Aye.
Wood.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Sailors.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
White.
Aye.
And Sheets.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, there is one presentation item, the UC Davis Emergency Medicine Fellowship Program, Assistant Chief Law, Dr. Mackey and Dr. Maynard.
Good evening, directors, Assistant Chief Law, and good evening, Chief Harms. Hopefully you can all hear and see me. This is my first time actually doing on video, so I'm excited and embarrassed at the same time. Tonight, I wanted to bring a really exciting new program to you, the UC Davis Emergency Medicine Fellowship Program. This is something that I'm really proud of in the EMS division and the work that the EMS division staff did with Dr. Mackey and UC Davis to bring this to fruition over Metro Fire is the only agency in the region that was actually asked to participate in this program. And I think that is a testament to the high level and quality of care that Metro Fire's paramedics bring to the community. And so with that, I want to let Dr. Mackey tell us a little bit about what a UC or Emergency Medicine Fellowship is. And then Dr. Maynard will introduce himself to you all. So Dr. Mackey, take it away.
Thank you, Chief. Good evening, directors. Chief Harms, good to see you back. So just to give you a little bit of a background, there are 8 subspecialties of emergency medicine that are identified by the Board of Medical Specialties. EMS is the newest kid on the block and has grown to be the largest kid on the block as well. So UC Davis applied through a fairly lengthy process to get approval from the American College of Graduate Medical Education to house a fellowship for EMS specific. So what does that mean? There are 7 other EMS fellowships in the state of California. There are 70 in the country. And each year, not every program fills, but we are lucky this year to have our very first in Dr. Maynard, who you'll meet in just a second. So through the fellowship, so what is a fellow? A fellow has completed the residency training. So most other people in his class took a job as an attending physician and are now working in the emergency medicine world somewhere in the country. Many of them here in Sacramento, but Dr. Maynard made the election to stick around for a year afterwards and get specialized training in EMS. So over the course of the next year, he will get very much the depth, the breadth, the width of EMS from soup to nuts. And we are very grateful that Metro Fire has agreed to house Dr. Maynard, and he's already been in the firehouse, and he's spent 2 days with the crews, and he will be with you each Wednesday. So like I said, his fellowship will go for a year. His job is to be in the firehouse. He is an educator, and he's also a learner at the same time. So he's going to learn from the crews and hopefully use his time there to also teach when he is there. He is fully hands-on, meaning that he is able to do any and all procedures within his scope and even outside the scope potentially of a paramedic. We're starting slow since he's our first one through, but Dr. Maynard is an extremely accomplished physician. He's been very successful in residency. And so I don't want to belabor further. I'm going to pass him off to you. Thanks for joining us, Dr. Maynard, and thanks again to the district for hosting him and to the board for having us present.
All right, well, thank you, directors and Chief Harms. I'm really excited to be able to have the opportunity to introduce myself and to be working with Metro Fire. So I am originally from, I just thought I would take the second just to introduce my background and where I come from. Originally from Utah, I grew up in the Salt Lake City area. Got introduced to EMS right out of high school. That's where I got certified as an EMT, and I think I caught the emergency medicine bug from that moment onward. After that, working a few jobs as an EMT in the Salt Lake City area. Ended up going to paramedic school in Idaho, and then doing a internship, my paramedic internship in Atlanta, Georgia, with Grady Health System. And then after that, decided, worked for a medic for a while, but decided that I wanted to take my skills further, and was lucky enough to get into medical school. So I attended medical school in Las Vegas at Toro University, Nevada. And then after that, did my residency training in emergency medicine at UC Davis. And I should backtrack a little bit. During medical school, I ended up taking a commission in the United States Air Force. So I'm a captain in the Air Force, have done my officer training. And then after I get done with this year, with my fellowship and working with Metro Fire, I'll go back into active duty and be able to serve in the Air Force there. That's a little bit about my background.
Great, thank you.
So we thought we'd take an opportunity to take any questions from you folks. As I said, Dr. Maynard is our first, but this is an ongoing program. We will take applicants every year, and as long as Metro Fire is willing to host us, we will have the fortunate opportunity to have a physician embedded in Metro Fire each and every year. We're intentional about where he's embedded because there are specific things he has to learn. He's starting at Station 65 because it's a summer, and he has a chance to do some boat rescue and some water rescue training. Then he'll be moving to 109 where he'll get some hazmat training as well and work with a hazmat unit, and then he'll move over to 21 where he'll get just volume of calls, and he'll do these on a 1-month rotation. So he'll, at the end of this, he'll have spent 4 months at each of those stations getting to know each of the personnel.
Yep, and so far we've been fortunate to already have Dr. Maynard assist us with a couple of case reviews with crews, referrals that we received from UC Davis on some pretty complex issues that we don't normally deal with. So he's been an amazing resource so far, and he's only 2 shifts in. So I think we've got great things to come for both Dr. Maynard and our crews and the community that he's going to be running calls with, because we also have the benefit of being able to have medical control directly available on scene for the calls that Dr. Maynard is on the crews with. So they won't have to call another hospital to consult about procedures and appropriate care. So that's pretty exciting for the program as well, I think. So with that, I think we can answer any questions that you might have, directors.
Are there any questions?
Yeah, this is Director White. So the work schedule, it's every Wednesday. Is that correct? Or what will his time in the stations be like?
Yep, Dr. Maynard is going to be with us every single Wednesday for the next 12 months on 12-hour shifts. So he is in the stations from 8 in the morning until 8 in the evening. And he has some requirements and hours and other duties that he's fulfilling throughout his program the rest of the week. So that's the reason that he's with us on 12-hour shifts.
I just also want to say welcome and thank you for your service to Dr. Maynard.
Thank you very
Madam
much.
Chair, this
Excited
is
to hear.
Gail.
Hi, Director Jones, go ahead.
Okay, thanks. Hey, Dr. Maynard, thank you. You're pretty brave. Hang in there. If you have any questions, call anybody. We'll be glad to share our opinions with you. Best of luck, and thank you for participating and helping all of us at Metro Fire to move forward on a lot of different fronts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Director Kelly.
Oh.
Oh, go ahead.
Director Wood and then Director Kelly.
Well, thank you. Dr. Maynard, no question again, like Director White said, I appreciate you being here. Look forward to working with you. And if you do have any questions, like Gay said, we're all here. We're happy to help you. And thank you very much for your service. My son's in the Air Force, so I know what it's like. And good luck when you go back in full duty.
Director Kelly.
Yes, I just wanted to extend my sincere appreciation and convey my, tell Dr. Maynard how impressed I am. Certainly you have found your way to Metro Fire, and hopefully you stick around for a long time. And the partnership between Metro Fire and yourself is a long-lasting one. And then later on, if you would, tear your shirt off. Let's see that S on your chest.
President Sheets, I have a question.
Yes, sir. Director Gould, go ahead.
Thank you. This is actually for Chief Law. Chief Law, has there been any consideration in the system since he'll be on shift on Wednesdays, and you mentioned that he's on site on calls as medical direction? Is there any consideration that the rest of the system at Metro Fire could utilize his skills to lessen the time it takes to get access to another physician when there's a base hospital order only? Could they just get up on the radio and go right to him directly, all of the crews on that shift day?
No, that is not how the program is structured. So if Dr. Maynard is not on scene, the crews still need to go through their regular medical control process with one of the hospitals. And Dr. Mackey might be able to answer a little bit more of the why that is.
That's fine. No's an okay answer.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Dr. Mackey, did you have anything to add to that?
You're channeling me, Director Gould. We would like to get there someday. It's going to take not just Dr. Maynard, but it's going to take the depth of the faculty as well. It's more than just who you see here. Dr. Rose at UC Davis is the fellowship director, and we have a multitude of physicians that are supporting Dr. Maynard through his education. My role is to be the pre-hospital director, so all of his time out of the hospital, I work with him, but he pulls shifts in the emergency department. I'd love to share more. I don't want to take too much of the meeting, but I'll tell you that that every Tuesday, the entire fellowship, all 7 fellowship programs in the state of California meet virtually for an education session. And the goal of what we get out of this, I know Dr. Maynard hasn't said this, and so I'll tell him his dream, I think, is to work with the PJs. So that's kind of his dream. But I've had the benefit of working with you folks for 10 years, and this is where you get started. So Dr. Maynard I'm getting myself out of a job, basically. So we're training our next year's leadership in EMS, and the medical directors. There are enough fellowship programs in the country that the medical directors of next year will all require fellowship training. And so that's the purpose of this. And so he can lead our people through EMS.
Thank you for that. Chief Harms, you had a comment?
Just to Chief Law and Dr. Mackey, they really put in the work to be able to pull this together. We talked about this a while ago, and you just look at everything that's happening in the organization. Then we added COVID on top of it. But there's such a great benefit that I really want to recognize them for being able to do that. And then Dr. Mackey and Dr. Maynard put together a video. And I don't know if you guys have had a chance to see it, with an introduction and really talking about what they're doing and the roles and the responsibilities that he has and stuff, and put that out to the membership. And it has been very positive return back of really thinking outside of the box of something maybe that we hadn't done before. And it's interesting how many people want to know what are, not just what can he do, but what are those other opportunities that may be there in the future. So kudos to everybody for putting that together. And Dr. Maynard, welcome to be here.
Yes, I echo all of those sentiments. Any other questions, comments for the board members?
This is Director White. I just also wanted to thank Dr. Mackey and Chief Law for work on this program. And, you know, I'm hoping Dr. Mackey is around for a very long time, but I know that regardless of what position you're in, one of the biggest charges we have is trying to prepare the organization for success without us or after we're gone. And I really do recognize and appreciate his efforts to train additional people to eventually maybe even fill his own role. So I just wanted to say thanks.
Yes, I agree. I had the privilege of working with Dr. Mackey. So Dr. Maynard, you are in very good hands. All right, no action necessary, and we'll be moving on to action items. The first action item is the Sacramento Mobile Integrated Health Care Pilot Project, MOU approval. Chief Harms and Captain Perryman.
Good evening again, directors. I'll kick this off and then we'll turn it over to Scott Perryman. We have had a lot of discussions. I know some of you directors had a lot of discussions before I ever got here. With a lot of hard work, we're bringing a MOU to all of you tonight for moving forward with the Mobile Integrated Health Pilot. I have Scott that is here. He'll give kind of a little brief overview. But, you know, another program that even despite COVID and a lot of hurdles along the way, something to really look forward to. And something that we've said is that we wanted to add additional tools in our toolbox. And really for the membership and for the service we deliver out there, I really think we have an opportunity to do that now. And I'll turn it over to Scott to talk about the program just a little bit and a little bit about the MOU, and we can move forward from there.
Sounds great. Thank you very much. I'm hoping everybody can hear me okay.
We can.
Great. First of all, good evening, board president, directors, and Chief Harms. It's a pleasure to be with you tonight. As you know, I'm Scott Perryman. I'm one of your captain paramedics. And the last time I spoke with you was, I believe it was October 10th of 2019. It's where we presented about the concept of the Mobile Integrated Health Pilot. Well, I'm here tonight as an MOU between Metro and the Hospital Council has been presented, and that will allow the transfer of money for the pilot. To give a quick recap, EMS has no other options than to take a patient to the emergency department, or they sign a patient-initiated refusal of service. So we only have one tool in that toolbox, and it's not always the right one. Meaning that we can either take them to the hospital or they sign initiated refusal of service. It's not that patients don't need care, but it's just not always the right tool, taking everybody to the emergency department. And other areas are having the same issues that we are. We're not an anomaly. And that's why places like LA County Fire, LA City Fire, Beverly Hills Fire Department have all started mobile integrated health programs looking at their specific needs. And it's worked very, very well for them. It makes sense when you pair a firefighter paramedic with an advanced provider, such as a nurse practitioner or physician assistant. It combines pre-hospital and hospital medicine to better meet the needs of the community. Mobile integrated health is designed to improve care for high utilizers of the emergency department and EMS. It helps reduce unnecessary emergency department transports. It reduces hospital readmissions, and it helps navigate people who just need that navigation component. And right now is a big time of helps provide appropriate care for patients with behavioral health issues. This entire time we have worked with many, many individuals, making sure that we work toward, working together towards our community needs. And we have moved forward, and we're here today with an MOU that allows the funding to be moved to Metro Fire to run that MIH program. One health organization is still moving forward with this pilot, but they've had recent changes in their legal counsel, and they needed more time before they sign the MOU. And we do anticipate them to move forward, and that will provide additional funding to what's in your packet now. So we're excited about that. We're in the RFP process, working with our purchasing and procurement division. We're searching for a medical group that can provide a medical director and advanced providers for this pilot. When I think about all of this is coming together at a critical time, knowing that the flu season is right around the corner and that we're in the current COVID-19 pandemic. This program gives the community the love, or this program gives the community that we love and we serve a new solution to their program. This concludes my presentation, and staff recommends that the board approve the MOU of the SAC MIH pilot. I'm open to answer any of your questions and turn the time over to Chief Harms.
Thank you. Are there any questions, comments from the board members?
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we enthusiastically endorse this proposal this evening. Probably not a finer thing has come before us in many, many moons, and everyone that's been involved, none the least of which is Captain Perryman, should be congratulated. So I make a motion we adopt enthusiastically.
I'll second that, and I just want to add congratulations, Captain Perryman, seeing this through. I think it was 2016 we were back in DC talking about this, and I know you've worked tirelessly, and you deserve some credit for that. So thank you for all your work.
All right, great. We have a motion and a second.
And I have my hand raised.
Oh, I didn't see it. I apologize.
Too small.
No, thank you.
I don't just the hands.
No, thank you, Madam President. Hey, just to tag team on Director Woods. Yeah, I can recall what, 2016, 4 or 5 years ago, we started talking about this idea of alternative destinations. And again, kudos to Captain Perryman. I can recall having this conversation with Maurice Johnson and many of the representatives on Cap to Cap from our area hospitals. And it's a long haul, but in the end, it's worth it. We'll have a solid program. I'm really looking forward to the success of this program and its expansion. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes. Any other comments from board members?
Madam Chair, if I could.
I'm sorry.
Director Kelly, and then
Director Kelly was first, yeah.
All right. I would like to say, again, this is just an example of where Metro Fire is leading. And I would certainly hope that this is something that we'll be able to help other districts throughout the state or the country for that fact, because certainly it is a better model for caring for individuals that are not destined for the hospital so much, but those frequent flyers and everybody else that are on the fringes of medical care that need appropriate care. This is the best way, I think, to care for them. It's been a long time in the works, and again, my kudos to all those involved. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Kelly. Director Clark.
Yes, I also agree with the sentiments of my other board directors, and also I'm very excited about us making use or efficient use of our resources. This is very good for our district. Thank you.
Agreed. Any other comments? Congratulations, Captain Perryman, on this accomplishment.
Thank you very much. I know I've worked with a lot of the directors and a lot of people, so thank you.
Madam, please call the roll.
Before we call,
yes, sir.
Madam Chair, before we do that, can I say final
Absolutely.
thing?
Yes.
you know, this has been a tremendous effort that Metro has been leading, and we've heard from my colleagues about all the different players. I'd encourage us to find some time for Captain Perryman to step away just a bit from this and reflect on all the work that's been done and put together a playbook for our other fire agencies up and down this state and across the country, because there's a lot of stuff that's inside his coconut there. And if something happens to him, we're going to be at a major disadvantage for knowing all of this. And it seems reasonable that once we make this decision tonight, that we figure out logistically how Captain Perryman can sit down with somebody and reflect on this long journey and get it in writing so that we can have a playbook to potentially sell to others. I'm just kidding. But, you know, to consult with others, it would really make, it would encourage others to see Metro Fire as the leader that it is. Thank you very much, and I look forward to the role.
Agreed. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Absolutely. Director Gould.
Enthusiastically, aye.
Orzali.
Even more enthusiastically, aye.
Wood.
Aye.
Kelly.
Dragging the group down, aye.
Sailors.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
White.
Aye.
And Sheets.
Aye.
Motion enthusiastically passes.
All right, moving on to action item number 2, SCRS, the extension of the medical coverage benefit program. It looks like Deputy Chief Castancini.
Good evening, Board President, Directors, and Chief Harms. Greg Castancini, Deputy of Administration. Tonight, I'm here to discuss the extension of medical coverage benefits for 14 retirees that retired from the Florent and North Highlands departments prior to the organization of Metro Fire in 2000. Prior to July 1st of 2004, these retiree medical costs had historically been subsidized by excess earnings from the SCRS investments. On November 20th of 2003, SCRS declared that the subsidy was not a vested retirement benefit and discontinued payments. So on June 3rd of 2004, the district adopted a resolution funding the annuitant medical subsidy coverage costs for these retirees equal to the subsidy that SCRS was paying. Historically, the Metro Fire Board of Directors has renewed this resolution every 5 years, and it is up this year. So tonight, the district is asking the board to adopt this resolution that would authorize the payment of medical subsidy coverage for these 14 retirees at a cost of $63,665 for the 2021 budget year, with a 5% cost of living adjustment annually. Please let me know if I can answer any questions.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions, comments from the board?
Yes, President Sheets. This is Director Jones. I have a brief question and then a comment. Chief Castatini, when you say a 5%, is that a cap or is that an automatic for the next 5 years?
That is an automatic for the 5 years. So our research shows us that typically the adjustment for the COLA, which is based on, ranges from 4 to 8%. And so we get at a 5% each year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you for that. And then my comment is I very much appreciate your report. It's important to go through the history and how we started on this. Anyway, I very much appreciate your thorough report, including all the institutional history. Thank you. And Madam Chair, I'll move this item.
I'll second it.
Wonderful. We have a first and a second. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Director Gould.
Aye.
Orzali.
Aye.
Wood.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Sailors.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
White.
Aye.
And Sheets.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, moving on to reports. The president's report, I have nothing to report. Fire chief's report, Chief Harms.
Good evening, directors. It's been a very busy 3 weeks since the last time we were here, both here at home and across the state for our crews. First off, I would like to congratulate all the directors who will be staying with us for another 4 years. I look forward to working with each of you over this next 4 years as we move forward. Congratulations. New hires. On July 28th, we hired a new administrative specialist. She'll be working in CRRD. Her name is Lisa Gates. As far as promotions, on July 27th, Battalion Chief or Captain Grant Russell was promoted to Battalion Chief. He's assigned at Battalion 9 on C shift. And then on August 2nd, Captain Brendan Hogan was promoted to captain, and he is working on B shift. I'm not real sure where he's assigned at right now. To kind of go along with our theme for EMS night, firefighter Justin Fry and paramedic Chantel Crane have been selected to be the drill masters for our SRP Academy that is coming up. That will be later in August or early, actually I think that's early September that will start. And so we'll be putting additional folks through the SRP Academy coming up. So meetings that we had was July, we had an executive staff meeting between Sac City Fire and the fire chiefs. Once again, these meetings are no real agenda, but we spend about 2.5 hours together just discussing the activity, whether it would be staffing or response or training. And the other side is just having that relationship and that open communication that we have with the city. On the 29th of July, we had our labor management meeting along with Vice President McGoldrick. We talked about Station 68 and the final plans for the review of Station 68. Talked about the part-time medics in service and kind of the impact they're having, the mobile integrated health unit, which is definitely one of the items that folks are looking at. We talked about the helicopter program along with a number of other ones. We will do a side letter agreement here real soon about the hazmat staffing and the staffing of the hazmat unit. So again, a lot of very positive stuff. Also on July, or actually August 6th, as the new chair of the California Metro Chiefs, I chaired the meeting for the Metros. This year's conference in September has been canceled. So that kind of takes that off my plate. But again, it's the 14 largest fire departments across the state, and a lot of just activity with the fire activity that's going on, COVID, and the legislative stuff. The next thing I really want to talk about just a little bit, and first start off with Randy Orzali, Director Orzali, and Jeff Fry. You guys can remember quite a while back, we came to the board and we showed you some new technology for thermal imaging cameras. And our goal was, how do we find funding? How do we work forward to taking this little handheld, a little bit bigger than what your cell phone is, unit, and put it in the hands of every firefighter that is out there. And Randy and Jeff, along with the Sacramento Public Safety Foundation, built really a PowerPoint program, a message that could be taken out, and had worked with Supervisor Frost to be able to purchase some of them in the very beginning to get the program moving forward. We had an opportunity, and Battalion Chief John Runicki really took all the information that had already been put together. And John, if you remember, we assigned him over to he was working with the city on the UASI program, the Urban Area Search or Urban Area Security Program. And as you all know, that is one of the things that when we go back to DC for Cap to Cap, we always talk about the additional funding each year and being able to use that. John took a camera with him. He took all the stuff that was put together by the foundation and did a presentation over there, did all the paperwork. John luckily sits on the decision committee over there, really convinced the other members that are there will be receiving about $160,000, and then through the committee they will do the purchasing of a tick for each individual riding position that's out there. So really great news. As I said, Director Orzali, you put the work in to be able to get this forward. The opportunity came forward, and before long, we should be able to have those ticks in every riding position out there. So thank you for that, and we'll move forward with there. Otherwise, tonight we will have Chief Green is going to talk tonight about statewide deployment, staffing, some USAR stuff with COVID and people testing positive or being exposed. It is definitely a challenge for us right now with staffing and where we're at. That ends my report for tonight. I'll take any questions that you have.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions or comments for the Chief?
Mr. Randy Orzali, a so much as a recommendation for the work that went in to this initiative, and my thanks to Supervisor Frost, what she did for. So thanks to everyone.
Thank you, Director Orzali. Anybody else?
Director Kelly?
Director Kelly, go ahead.
Yes, Chief, welcome back. And I'm certainly glad that the resources were found to put these in the hands of every seat on the fire apparatus. I think it's something that's wonderful and shows you how well the group works together. And thank you for everybody involved.
Anybody else? Thank you, Chief.
This is Director White. I just also wanted to say thanks to Director Orzali and the Sacramento Public Safety Foundation and Supervisor Frost, everyone that contributed to pretty significant goal to get a thermal imaging camera for every riding position for a district the size of Sac Metro Fire. So that's a huge accomplishment. I know a lot of work went into that. I just want to thank everyone involved.
Thank you, Director. Any other comments or questions for the directors? Thank you, Chief. Moving on to the operations report, Assistant Chief Green.
Thank you, President Sheets. Good evening, directors and Chief Harms. Chris Green here, Assistant Chief assigned to the Operations Division. I'm the shift commander for B shift. I'm standing in for Chief Bridge tonight to give you your operations report. And as Chief Harms alluded to, I want to focus on two of the main topics we've been working on in operations since our last board meeting. One is our response for state wildland fires, which are starting to pick up. And two, how COVID-19 is affecting our members and our staffing. So I'll start with the state wildland activity. Over the last few weeks, we've had a couple deployments with our OES Type 3 engine to a couple small incidents throughout the state. They've since returned. As of today, two of our members from the California Incident Management Team 10 are currently pre-positioned in Redding, awaiting an assignment probably within the next few days to one of the fires that's starting in Northern California up near the Oregon border at this point. All of our other resources are currently in the county. And if anyone's been following the news within the last 24 hours, there have been two significant fires that have sparked California. And South Ops is currently going through their process of requesting units from Northern California. It hasn't hit our region yet, but we fully expect to possibly deploy all three of our OES engines within the next few days, if not weeks. As you know, really August starts the beginning of increased fire activity throughout the state of California. And it looks like we are on track with that, as we've seen in the past. We are currently contractually committed to continue to support our three OES engines for deployment. That also includes the option to send two battalion chiefs out. One is a strike team leader, and the other is a leader trainee, as well as our obligations for our three incident management team members. Should also note that our USAR task force within the region is #1 up for deployment in the month of August. Should USAR be deployed, it would affect about 10 of our members who are currently rostered to go. And we should note that 3 of our members joined the Urban Search and Rescue water rescue deployment to the hurricane in Hawaii just a couple of weeks ago. 3 of our members did respond, came back safely. And fortunately for the citizens of Hawaii and the islands, there was no significant flooding they had to attend to. That concludes the update on the state wildland activity, which will likely evolve as we go through the next couple of weeks. The next topic I wanted to discuss is our current COVID-19 update for all members at Metro Fire. If we go back all the way to March 7th, we have conducted swab testing for 202 of our members as of today. Of those 202 members that were tested, 13 have tested positive. If we look at today's specific numbers, just for today, of what we're dealing with, we currently have 30 members that have been placed off duty for COVID testing. Of those 30 that are out for testing, 9 are symptomatic, and we've related 6 positive tests out of those 9 symptomatic folks, of which 3 have been put towards other illnesses. Really, kind of the way to summarize this is we've been seeing peaks and valleys within the last 3 to 4 weeks with our COVID exposure process. And our exposures are anywhere from positive patients that we've seen on medical aids, and also folks that have just picked it up what we believe to be out of the community. So it's really not one area that's been centered. On the more positive side, all of our members that have tested positive and have been symptomatic have, for the most part, had minor symptoms. None have been hospitalized, which is good news, though we do have 2 members that have some lingering symptoms that they're having a hard time dispelling, but we're hoping for a good quick recovery and to get them back to work soon. To translate this into what our current staffing levels are, with 30 members off really starting tomorrow morning for our next operational period, it is a very large strain on the membership to keep staffed. All of our stations are 100% staffed and open as of today, and we remain in commitment and working closely with Local 522 to accomplish that. Just this morning, Chief Harms, myself, and Local 522 Vice President Mike McGoldrick filmed a video that will be released to all members tomorrow, really emphasizing the need to be available to come to work on extra days if needed, and also to outline additional considerations for our members to remain healthy, as remaining 100% staffed is absolutely our #1 priority. And it's been very good to work closely with Local 522 in unison on this topic. It should be noted, and I know we spoke about this several months ago, but we did create within operations a comprehensive staffing plan to address what happens if we have even more members above the 30 off right now on how we continue to staff our stations. The plan is very detailed, and happy to report that we do have the ability to keep all of our stations open, even with additional members becoming ill. So I hope that when we report out from operations in a couple more weeks, we have some more positive results. But what we're seeing here at Metro Fire is really on par with what we're seeing overall within Sacramento County with our exposure levels. That concludes the operations report. I'm more than happy to answer any questions you may have, directors.
Thank you, Chief. Any comments or questions, the rest of the directors? Thank you. Moving on to firefighters Local 522. Goldrick, are you on the line?
I am. Good evening. First of all, I'd like to congratulate all the directors who have run unopposed. Unfortunately for you, it's too late to back out now, so that's where we are. I want to welcome Dr. Maynard. I had the pleasure of meeting him the other day. I think that program has 2 or 3-fold benefit to it. Not only will it give us a little more exposure to their side of the picture, but there are some people that we have in-house that are very talented, and their last stop may not be a firefighter paramedic on an ambulance. So I think that's one thing that is an added plus for our membership. I will also say we are dealing with the COVID issues as best as we can. I want to reiterate to the board directors that there is no want for any of the employees that are off right now. We're working with administration, and they're totally taken care of. If you have any questions, I'm willing to field those. Other than that, that ends my report.
Thank you, sir. Are there any questions or comments for Mr. McGoldrick? Thank you, sir. Moving on to committee and delegate reports. The executive committee has not met for some time and we do not have a planned meeting. I have nothing else to report. Moving on to Communications Center JPA, Chief Shannon.
Good evening, President Sheets. Just a couple of comments on the Comm Center JPA. I think as I mentioned earlier, we've had two academies, 20-1 Academy and Chief Wagaman, since he's been in the Comm Center, kind of took a different approach, made these academies a little longer, a little more intensive to see if they could actually get a better result, which was, they were having some issues with at the end of the academies in the past. So with that being said, the 7 that graduated in 20-1, 3 of them have already been signed off for call takers and working on the phones. I'll be honest with you, I'm not exactly sure what that means, but what I will tell you is that's a very fast trajectory for these new employees to get to the point where they're at. So I'll take the Comm Center's word for that. So 3 of them already been signed off out of the 7. The other 4 are on their way. They're doing a great job. They've really added to the spirit and the ability to and the workmanship that's going on over there in the center. So that's moving along. 20-2, that academy, I believe, with 5 has started. It's in week 2, and everybody is doing real well so far. So with that, that's the end of the report for the Comm Center.
Thank you, sir. Any questions or comments for the chief? All right, moving on to California Fire and Rescue Training JPA, Chief Shannon, you're up.
With that, President Sheets, I do not have a report for the training JPA. We will meet again September 17th at 4 o'clock in Gold Canal.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to Finance and Audit Committee, Director Orzali.
At the last meeting, I misspoke regarding the date of the next meeting. It is, in fact, the 27th of August, and we look forward to that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Policy Committee, Director Gould.
No report.
Awesome. Before we move into closed session, we'll take board members' questions and comments, and Director Gould, we'll start with you.
Just want to thank the staff for their reports tonight. Super exciting. What a great meeting we've had with such forward-thinking ideas. And it just, again, it's impressive. And thanks to my colleagues, and congratulations to all of them who have been reelected by default, I suppose. And so I look forward to continuing to work with all of you. That ends my comments.
Thank you, sir. Director Orzali.
Just briefly, this has been very productive, and words from the chief about the efforts on the part of the foundation, and I'm hopeful that we will have some more positive news very soon. With that, thank you so much for everybody's efforts and all of the programs that were on this. This has probably been the most forward-thinking, creative board agenda I've been privileged to participate in. So thank you.
Thank you, Director. Director Wood.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just briefly, welcome again to Dr. Maynard. Thanks again to everyone else, Chief Law and Captain Perryman. Again, Captain Perryman, all the work he's put into that, he deserves some recognition for that. And it's wonderful to see this baby coming out for him. So everyone else, it's going to be a hot one, and just stay safe, stay hydrated, and best to all of our crew out there.
All right, Director Clark.
Okay, yeah, I'm very excited about what's going on within our community and our district. I want to thank everybody for the reports. I also want to welcome Dr. Maynard, welcome him on board, and this is a great meeting. I'm really enjoying this meeting, and once again I want to thank everybody for the report. Great reports. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
All right, Director Jones.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to reiterate all the thank yous and kudos that my previous directors, the directors' previous comments have established. The overall, it's just so fantastic. There's so many different levels. We have very long-term, medium-term, and immediate needs and challenges that have been addressed by our staff, by all the firefighters in the field, and by this board of directors to keep us moving forward. And I really wanted to acknowledge this long-term as well as short-term historical building that we have done, whether it's stick-to-itiveness for the mobile integrated health unit, whereas it's hour by hour, shift by shift concern to keep up our minimum staffing. These are all super, super important items, and I'm so pleased and proud that Metro has been able to meet these challenges as they come upon us. And it says a bit about the good work that our elected by declaration board of directors has accomplished. And I have all the greatest hope and aspirations that we'll continue to build on this progress. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Director Walt.
Thank you, Madam President. I also just want to congratulate fellow directors on your reelection. I do look forward to continuing to work with you. I also wanted to once again welcome Dr. Maynard and to thank the men and women of the Sacramento Metropolitan Fire and our cooperators who just prior to this meeting were extinguishing a 200+ grass fire off Meese and Ione Road that burned all the way to the Van Vleck Ranch. So I know it's triple digits, and there's a lot of our employees that were out there working very diligently to get that containment on that fire. And I also want to thank President McGoldrick and the members of Local 522 for continuing to step up and work the extra hours necessary during wildland season and the pandemic. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Director Sailors.
Thank you, Madam President. My sentiments reflect what every director has said previously. So thank you and have a good night. Thank you.
Director Kelly.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, I would like to extend my appreciation for the high-performing team, otherwise known as Metro Fire, and tell Chief Law and Doctors Maynard and Mackey, wonderful work that you're doing. So happy that you guys are associated with our organization. Mr. Perriman, Captain Perriman, thank you again for the work that you have put forth. And these are just further examples of the fine organization that Metro Fire is. And I would like to tell the directors that were reelected with no opposition. Running with no opposition is oh so sweet. So congratulations, and look forward to another quality board for another 4 years. And everybody associated with Metro Fire, hope you guys have a safe weekend. And these temperatures that are heading into triple digits for a sustained period of time, the guys at 522 will certainly be out busy, and I wish them safety and Godspeed. Thank you for the time.
All right, I also wanted to thank everyone for their presentation and report tonight, and welcome Dr. Maynard. Congratulations to the promotions and then the re-elected directors. I also want to send speedy recoveries for the 30 members that are off, and the ones that are symptomatic, hopefully send them best wishes to return to online. Stay safe this weekend through these hot temperatures. And with that, we'll move into closed session.
All right, everyone, I'll see you in closed session. I know there'll be a few people remaining in our regular meeting. We will come back to report out here. Director Gould, we're still in closed session. We have one more item to take care of in there.
It got me out of there. Hold on.
Okay, we'll give you a minute. John Lavra's joining as well. All right, we are coming back in.
Here we are. Stop video.
Melissa, how's your baby?
Really big.
That's the most important thing. Jennifer, you like outside, the wind is blowing your hair. You like at a seashore.
I just have a fan.
It's art.
I'm having hot flash.
Your own personal summer?
Yeah, it's great. 42 is awesome.
You don't look a day over 28. Give me a break.
They do keep it like 60 in the hospital, but I still need a fan.
Okay, I see that Director Kelly has not joined us, but that's okay.
Okay.
We have 8 directors on, so we are well over our quorum.
All right, so we will reconvene to open session and we will have you, Ms. Pania, report out on closed session item number 1.
Okay, thank you, Director. The board met in closed session pursuant to subdivision B of section 54956.9. The board voted unanimously to authorize the fire chief to work with legal counsel to initiate litigation. If the action is formally commenced, details will be available upon request.
Thank you. General Counsel Lavra will report on closed session item 2A and B.
Thank you, Board President Sheets. The board met in closed session to consider the claim for damages under Government 910 for Leslie White III. The board voted unanimously to give authority to the board clerk to reject that claim and refer the matter to the district's liability carrier. The board also considered the 910 claim for damages for claimant Lori White. The board also voted unanimously to give authority to the board clerk to reject the claim and refer the matter to the district's liability carrier. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. With that, we will adjourn. Next board meeting is August 27th. Have a good night, everybody.
You guys have a good night too.
Good night, everyone.
Cool.
Thank you. Stay safe. Stay
Drink
cool.
lots of water.
Stay cool. Supposed to be 109 tomorrow, right?
Oh, no.
That's what the forecast is.
Oh, my God, no.
I know.
No.
This is brutal. Sacramento hell.
Yeah.